why they were able to get so far. But that's the past. We still got another semifinal here between Third Impact and Gladiators Legion. Legion on the up and up, and Third Impact on another rebranding. This is the former Grunto squad, but equally ready to perform in this semifinal. The biggest question, of course, though, Gladiators Legion is very warm off their last quarterfinal win, and Third Impact playing with 2 new members.
The artist formerly known as Grunto, as the artist formerly known as Chicken Contenders. Third Impact now coming in here with Apply as well, who spent most of his time on Revival this season. They didn't make it into the playoffs, but he is on loan with Third Impact. Third Impact in their statement when it came to revamping of the team said, this is the team that's going to take us to the gauntlet. The unfortunate thing is on the other side, you've got Gladiators Legion, who a lot of people said after 2-2-2 lock came, they would be exponentially better than they would be than from the regular season. And that's exactly what we've seen so far. Emil's been able to actually play D.Va and play D.Va through a lot of these maps. That's definitely helped their cause. Dalton was a big star yesterday, but so far he's going to be the first call for Gladiators Legion. Third Impact and take the vent down. Take over the point. They already did. They're already at 22%. Gladiators Legion wasting a little bit of time there.
Yeah, Third Impact definitely struck first. They took up position on the point, and we've seen just in the last match how powerful holding the objective is, because Gladiators Legion, they decided to continue in that fight, not go for a reset, which means they had to wipe Third Impact in order for any of their ultimates or abilities to have impact. As long as Third Impact can continue to stall, they're going to be doing very well, and they have the tools to do so. Wall coming out first for Legion, but Apply is going to be looking for a Blizzard target sooner rather than later.
Well, they burst right through the wall. I like it when teams destroy the wall, give them that line of sight as the Blizzard does come out from Apply. He's going to cryo just in time to save himself. Nice headshot as well coming in from Apply, but Dalton does get the Orisa on the other side. The Supercharger's gone as well. Gladiators Legion has an opportunity, but not for long, as Third Impact find a numbers advantage the tail end of this fight, and they are well on their way to 100% here.
They're just playing keep away right here. I mean, Gladiators Legion tossed out that Blizzard, got absolutely nothing from it because Third Impact owned this point. They had the initial move to get onto the high ground, and I really like the way that they pincered Gladiators Legion as well. They were able to take down Dalton by isolating him from the rest of the team, and now they still have Death Blossom to finish this out. We're in one-fight territory.
Gladiators Legion have to lay everything onto this Death Blossom. The Sound Barrier is going to be there, but is it going to be in time for Dalton to stay alive? He does get some healing as the Coalescence comes through as well. Third Impact healing good, but the Death Blossom comes through from Club. Instead takes down 4, and that's what you call a Death Blossom, my friends.
That's
Death surrounding.
Exactly. Yeah, that is a true spin to win.
Yep, that doesn't even need the Beyblade portion of it, right? He's just going to do it the old-fashioned way, getting into the back line, throwing that Death Blossom out, getting 4 kills, and securing the map round win for Third Impact. Now that we're into the second round, this is actually very similar to how it worked in the last game, but the last game, Gladiators Legion, if we were taking the same kind of storyline, Gladiators Legion would be able to come back on this one, as our unsigned team did start to falter after taking the first round here on Busan. Third Impact also running Rob Dab this time around too. He's going to be on the Moira. I think he made a name for himself on Ana a while ago when he had a little bit of a different name. And the Third Impact will be using Rob Dab and the Moira. Moira's becoming more and more popular when it comes to these team tops. Whenever you have someone heavy like an Orisa, the first thing you might think of is a Moira to keep them alive as well.
Nice wall from both sides. Third Impact, are they going to be looking to run that same playbook, pressure the point early on, or are they going to get hungry for some kills? Looks like they are going to back off to keep that space. We do need to see more production from Water on the side of Gladiators Legion. He was extremely quiet, not just throughout this season, but on that Busan round in particular. You have to have your base start producing.
Coalescence gets ripped right away from Third Impact, but not enough healing to save Apply. As Gladiators Legion do seize the point at the time, and being Coalescence now coming their way, and usually the second ultimate's going to find a little bit more value, and that's going to ring true for Gladiators Legion as the Orisa for Third Impact falls. Uptake will have to come walking back here very soon. The Third Impact have not seen at this point just yet. The stall has been real from Third Impact, but Gladiators Legion, they need to get that cleanup crew going. They got to flip this point, and they will.
This is much faster paced than they did on Hangar. Gladiators Legion able to just sustain there with that better second coalescence from Wolf. Third Impact, if you're going to pop something so early there, get that little early fight power spike, and something needs to come up, and they were already down a member, and so basically just playing from behind.
Water's going to put the wall up and also use that Blizzard to self-destruct, though, coming in from Salty is going to zone out everyone who might have been able to take advantage of that Blizzard. The sound barrier, though, coming both ways. 6 members still alive for Gladiators Legion. I'm going to say that their numbers advantage by putting them on top. The self-destruct, though, from Emil doesn't find any kills, but zones Third Impact away, and it allows Alton to help get some kills as well by isolating some members of Third Impact.
Really good isolation coming in from Gladiators Legion. Umte was really stuck between a wall and a hard place there. And after Wub dies, Rob invests the Coalescence. Zolik had invested the Sound Barrier in an attempt to keep everybody alive, so that's understandable, but interesting to use the Coalescence when you could really use one right now to break out.
That's why waiting out the Defense Matrix. The Defense Matrix lasting just a little while, a little bit too long, but Wub and the Death Blossom once again, that's a POTG if I've ever seen it, and he's competing with his own POTG from the last round as well, showing himself to be a very, very capable Reaper.
Very much so, and skating across.
Dab on him.
Yeah, skating across the land on an ice field. Really beautiful stuff. And Third Impact will finally be able to cap this point once more, but they need to continue to hold on. Gladiators Legion haven't reached that magical 80% one and done fight territory, but they are extremely close. Third Impact only has the single coalescence for now to hold them off.
Not a ton on the other side as well, though. Third Impact could use that coalescence to cause a lot of discord for Gladiators Legion, but the Blizzard comes through. I'm taking the get frozen right away. Look at all of that damage. The coalescence was there to try to heal Umke, but too much damage coming in from Gladiators Legion. Now we're going to bring the fight over to the objective. It's going to be about these Reapers battling it out against each other, and the tanks of the opposing team. Love's going to shift away, keep himself a little safe, get a little bit more heals, and then he's going to approach Stand 1 once more. Stand 1 putting up shop by the little nook underneath the bridge. That's a really popular place for these Aristas to go. As Wolf gets the coalescence kill, letting get the boot kill. Wub unable to repeat his last 2 Death Blossoms falls during the ultimate panel as Gladiators Legion take the point back. They're at 82%.
They sneak it while Third Impact was trying to stall things out. Salty trying to go for that Bishi Bomb, nudge it off the high ground into the midst of Legion, but it didn't quite go that way, and now they're going to be scrambling. They're probably going to have to use this Sound Barrier just to touch this point because Dalton is ready with another Sound Barrier. It can easily cut Third Impact in half, especially if he takes the flank, gets sneaky.
Wub's going to teleport onto the objective, cause a little bit of nervousness, but then he's going to go up to Evie. He's not close to that Death Blossom, so he's got to try to pick it up some other way. The Sound Barrier's already been used for Gladiators Legion. As Third Impact, we're able to make it to the objective. Wub again, he's been in range form longer than he's been shooting so far in the end game here of the Busan downtown. Salty's going to get beam-magged. Apply's going to die before using that Blizzard, and then the Death Blossom this time around from Dalton will rip through Third Impact. This is a round win for Gladiators Legion. We're going to round 3.
Much better play from Legion this time around, never letting Third Impact really dig their claws in and hang on to the point. It felt like every single fight, Third Impact was already playing from behind. Not necessarily playing to win the fight, just playing to stall things out and try and scrape some more percentage points. And hopefully we can see a little bit more synergy from the team coming into Sanctuary, because this is going to be the big decider. Remember, folks, this is a first to 3, so you only have 3 chances to just absolutely wipe the other team, and Third Impact are hoping not to let this opportunity slip them by.
We are 1-1. Everything on Busan will be determined here on Sanctuary. We've seen a lot of snipers here, so there hasn't been a ton of brawling fights between the team counts that we've seen on Sanctuary so far today throughout a lot of Overwatch, just in general. So it's going to be about waiting for these picks to happen. They might try to take the objective, but the staying power is going to be decided by these Widowmakers by making sure that they get to the pick and give them a numbers advantage, because these numbers advantages only last just a couple seconds if you've got a Hot Widow on your team. Gladiators Legion this time around are going to lose their mech, and Apply's going to find... Oh, Salty's actually going to lose the mech, and Apply's going to find the kill onto Wub on the other side.
Speaking of Speaking of staying power, Gladiators Legion going with the more meta pick of throwing Emil on the Roadhog, and you can see what impact it has. They immediately pressure the point, and although they take an early loss, they still command this point, and now they can play the stalling game and simply use the reses, try and keep this Roadhog alive.
Third impact coming out on top of the time. And Zolik does use the res onto Rob Dad, so third impact have both of their supports alive. Untaken to go ahead and use that supercharger, but Apply is going to fall immediately, but the kill still on the side of third impact. They're going to be able to take the point and flip it away. So Gladiators Legion were able to get the 33%.
Very impressive stuff. Emil all alone manages to rack up 2 kills by himself, get Gladiators Legion with a 4-point percentage, and they still have an engagement tool in the Nano and the Whole Hog. So this is a great way to just blast all of third impact off of the point and reclaim it for themselves. But they first have to put on their dancing shoes and dodge these dragons.
The dragons coming through, don't really do anything for the time being, but Apply is going to find the headshot onto Dalton. So Gladiators Legion also going to be losing the opportunity for this infrared sight. Third impact now, still have that 6v5. Emil slept, so it's pretty much a 6v4 on the point right now. And there's actually nothing going on the point because there's enough long distance damage for third impact to stay in this fight and try to rotate around Luddy in a very precarious situation. The Valkyrie's going to get pushed because he needed to get away, I suppose. It was very early. That's what you call a tempo Valkyrie. Is it going to come in handy? As of right now, it really hasn't, as Apply almost takes the Hanzo on the other side down. Drag Strike now coming in for Gladiators Legion to try to split him away from the point. That's exactly what's going to happen as Water finds the pick onto Apply, trying his best to bring third impact back. Now it's all about, are they even going to try to stall? The answer is no, as Gladiators Legion puts it back.
Apply and Water locked in literally a nothing duel for ages. Luddy pops that Valkyrie just to give Water that advantage, but in the end it does end up mattering. The Dragons helped take down Umte's Orisa while the rest of Gladiators Legion were pressuring the point again with that extra beefy, tanky Emil Roadhog against Salty's D.Va. Bomb is available though, always a great opener on these points when you have static shielding and you can know exactly where to lob that ultimate. Apply now will also have the Dragons, another great way to flush the point. So it's all about setting up that crossfire, herding people into the direction of one of those ults.
Emil, though, already taking Rob Dab down. Is Zola going to be able to find the res? Wub, though, on the other side finds the Mercy, and that's a big pick for third impact. Now is the time to get a little bit of aggressive on the point. That's what you see with the self-destruct. Dragon Strike trying to push third impact back, delay just a little while longer because the Gladiators will win this fight. They will win at this map. The Nano Boost goes onto Emil. Is he going to be able to do anything with it? He's been low this entire time. He actually might fall in the meantime, but he's going to take a breather, get his health back to 600. He's staying in this fight. Third impact now with the supercharger. They're going to be pushing in way more damage to Gladiators Legion is, but a headshot is a headshot as Dalton takes down Wub. Overtime has come in. Third impact only has. Now they're going to have 6 members with the 66 once more, but in the meantime, Dalton finds the headshot onto Apply. 65 for Gladiators Legion. Third impact are going to have to come from behind.
Yeah, especially given that supercharger and Whole Hog about to come online. Emil did such a great job simply staying alive, stalling things out until Gladiators Legion to get the full 6-man. Great halt hook combo, and now all the Valkyrie world is not going to do anything against Emil, who's already burned that Mercy down.
And this is going to be Gladiators Legion taking Busan in the end. Even though there are some kills going the other way and some good stall coming in from third impact, there's no way that Gladiators Legion lose this point. And here we go. Gladiators Legion get themselves on the board. They haven't lost a map so far here in the playoffs, and it's just amazing how much a meta can change the identity of a team, and we're seeing that right in front of our eyes with Gladiators Legion.
Very, very much so. Wise picks as well in the tank category. You're usually going to have an Orisa, of course, but I feel like I say this every single time. If you're going to be running a D.Va in lieu of a Roadhog, it has to be for a very, very good reason. Salty is a great D.Va, but the value of a Roadhog is just so high right now, especially when you own the point and you can literally just stand there. You're standing there, you're doing some part of your job, right? And D.Va's got to watch out for her mech health and really meter her defense matrix in order to find that same kind of value.
Even during the regular season before 2-2-2 lock, we have seen Orisa Hog just stay on a point and win something like a 6v4 if they have a support available to heal them up. And the big thing about Roadhog is not only does he gain a little bit of charge from it, take a breather, remember, ult charges are a little bit neutered as well. Everyone gets 12% less just across the board. but Third Impact, not with that Roadhog, inability to sustain on these objectives, it's going to be a lot harder to keep these points. That's exactly what we saw against Gladiators Legion so far. Another person, we were not very nice to Emil throughout a lot of that regular season. Just admittedly, he struggled a bit because
struggled on the Sombra.
These divas have had to play so many other characters throughout the season as Diva fell out of the meta. And now that we're here in 2-2-2 log, he's going to be able to just play one of two characters, right? It's just going to be that Diva or that Roadhog. He's shown himself to be a much better Roadhog than anything else that he played during the regular season. We've got to give him props for coming back and really coming in strong. He used to play for Angry Titans. He is a European import, and he came over here, and now he's starting to produce at just the right time here in the playoffs.
Couldn't ask for a better time to peak than during the semifinals against Third Impact. And just in our last series as well, we saw how great having a Roadhog, simply having that ability to sustain on the point was. Bud's played an excellent Roadhog all on Volskaya, and Legion themselves earned maybe 5-7% on Busan's Sanctuary just with a Mercy Roadhog, and that's value that you can't find with many other heroes.
So Gladiators Legion continuing their late season resurgence, and this actually happened to them last season as well. Bishu came onto the team, actually had a couple of games where he wasn't quite producing. The playoffs started,
game was rough.
And then the playoffs started, and they became a totally new team. We're seeing a little bit of that right in front of our eyes once more. This time, though, they don't need to depend on an Overwatch League player playing in and pretty much smurfing on some kids in playoffs like last season. This time, it's Gladiators Legion doing it with the crew that they've had for the whole season, and that feels really good if you're a Legion fan. Third Impact, though, struggling here on control at times. They did win the first round, but it was definitely more Gladiators Legion controlling Third Impact in the end. How have you looked at Apply so far? What have you seen? Is it going to be better than what we saw from Onigod in some of the other maps that X-Grunto was playing before they were Third Impact? Because Apply was a big reason why I think they won that first round.
Apply is always a great player to have on your team. I mean, he has a very deep hero pool, and we're seeing that come to even further fruition here in playoffs with 2-2-2 Rollock. Not as familiar with Onigod, aka Spectral, aka Stefan Fiskerstrand, but there's probably a reason why Third Impact is subbing Apply in, despite the fact that he is a new player to this team. Could very well be because of the hero pool. Onigod is very well known as a Widow player. He also has a pretty good Genji, I believe, from his back in his Team Norway days.
Pretty good Genji. Understatement.
Yep. But now as we head into Anubis, I'm hoping that Third Impact will, reconsider some of their tank choices, because anytime you have to guard a stationary point, it's really great to just be able to stand there, face out, look for those hook targets without having to meter your boost, meter your defense matrix. Not saying that it can't be done, but it needs to be done fairly carefully. Third Impact on the attack here. Not sure about the no, we are going to have the Orisa and Kalios in now on the Roadhog. Very exciting. Or Diva. Either way.
One or the other.
One or the other. We are getting both new players now playing for Third Impact. We're going to see how impactful they'll be.
Man, I would love to see Onigod and Water on Genji at some point, and here on Assault, it could actually potentially happen. Onigod's going to switch over to the Hanzo for the time being. Apply will be on the Mei. That's what their DPS line will look like. Gladiators Legion going to be running Water on the Junkrat, a hero that we rarely see anymore. This used to be Junkrat's stomping grounds. It's tactical area denial.
It's not
is what
spam.
We call. It is not spam. It is, even though spam is delicious.
Yes.
Tactical area denial is what we're going to call this from a Junkrat. He's doing a good job already at 69%.
Yeah, this tire is the win condition for the defense here. If he gets even a single kill, it's going to be worth it.
That is a quick tire. And at this point, even if it doesn't do anything, he got it so quickly, he's going to have a second. Oh my goodness! Holy mackerel. That is what you call a Hydra homie, my friends. Water going to go ahead and hydrate all of Third Impact. It has been ages since we saw something like that.
Well, shucks, son. Holy cheese on rye. That is, I was going to say he's dehydrated all of Third Impact. He got rocked so hard, Applies on Genji now. That is...
My face is hot.
Woo.
Yeah.
And it didn't just happen because he needed that tire out. He waited for the immortality field to be destroyed by
We were just talking
team.
about that, right?
Yep, exactly. It's all about playing around your opponent's abilities, and Apply really going to be feeling pretty salty.
Water already at 41%. Just use that tire as we're going to see Apply on the Genji this time around. Third Impact now still have all 6 members remaining, but that's a demoralizing tire that they just ate to the face of Water already about 3/4 of the way to the next one. And the way that Junkrat works, he could have a tire here in the next 10 seconds. And already saw it happen just then, jump right up to 74% as the ultimates now from Gladiators Legion are all going to be used, except for that self-destruct. Third Impact don't really have anything to use to defend against this, as Gladiators Legion functioning and firing on all cylinders so far. I'm just waiting for another tire at this point.
Yeah, I am salivating at the thought of another fatty 5K. That's just incredible stuff. Gladiators Legion going old school with their DPS picks, but boy, has it been effective. And it's really interesting that Third Impact are going with the Genji Tracer dive. So high burst, high mobility. It's all about getting in, getting out quickly, regardless of what you're doing. But Junkrat is one of the best counters for both of these heroes. Apply and Onigod have to be performing to the max in order for this to work out.
Apply needs to get to a Dragon Blade at some point in time in this map because he's been falling behind. There have been a couple ultimates now from Gladiators. His second tire now coming in from Water. He's searching for some victims. He does find Apply, so the Dragon Blade is going to have to wait a little while longer. And the unfortunate thing about that, too, is Robdab is left as at 50% on that Nano, but he's able to jump right up to 67. So they should be able to combo those together. Will Gladiators Legions continue to defend even with Stand 1 back in spawn?
Oh, there's just a baby Diva on the point, and even so, Gladiators Legion not able to hold on for it now. However, Ultimate's now coming in, and the defense's forces are largely decimated. Bar a miracle, Third Impact should take this. And they head into point B, well-stocked in ultimates. That is the best news here. And some of the utility that Genjis and Tracers apply. They earn ultimate pretty quickly, and they might get burned pretty quickly as well, but you only need to win a couple of fights.
We've all fallen victim to that same exact trap before. They just threw a threat of nowhere. But Gladiators were able to cause some casualties onto Third Impact before they're even able to start to snowball into the next round. And they're able to get the self-destruct away from Palios, so the big snowball potential from Third Impact is actually not going to happen. They haven't gotten point A yet.
No, the miracle might well be happening. Oh, as the words leave my mouth, the Water does go down, as does Stand 1 and Dalton eventually. Third Impact, though, were forced to use that Nano boost just to confirm that point A take. So that's going to limit the snowball heading into B. Apply would really, really like that Nano just to help keep him alive against all of the CC from Legion, who now have a Mei as well as the Doomfist on their side. Stand 1 also likely going to need to pop this Primal Rage 2 just to buy a bit of time and get the rest of his teammates up to their ults.
Gladiators Legion have a Primal Rage. That's going to be a really good opportunity to potentially zone out Apply. Onigod does get the stick, and Water, though, going to get that Rocket Punch kill onto the Lucio. Water taken very, very low, though. He's going to be out of this fight, but Gladiators Legion might have done enough to stop the offense of Third Impact, but I spoke to as soon as Apply gets 2 kills with that Dragon Blade, the Primal Rage is going to come jumping through, and he's going to be able to take down that Genji in the meantime, throwing those fisticuffs. Talking about fisticuffs, Onigod got to get the melee kill onto Roll. This is still back and forth. Third Impact could potentially come back, but that's not going to happen. Water keeps getting those kills.
Onigod manages to just pulse bomb the immortality field, so close to taking Water down himself, but against all odds, Legion do manage to hold on. Stand 1, an excellent Primal Rage. Love to see this guy pop off on the Winston. We know he has one of the deadliest gorilla butts in all of Contenders, and he showed it, racking up 2 kills that Legion desperately needed. Now, they can hang back and rely a bit more on the ultimates that they have. Lude ready with the Amp Matrix, and Meteor Strike also available. Third Impact only have this Nano, so they might well just take a Pico fight.
Water's going to have to use a Meteor Strike. I'm wondering if he's going to use it offensively or defensively. He's going to get right into the back line. He's going to make it back to his team, even though he was colored purple. That's a good cooldown to take away from the Ana on the other side, but there is a Nano at the ready for Robdab. Palios also has that self-destruct. The wall's going to stop the Rocket Punch. Self-destruct does come out from Palios and takes down the Batiste on. That is Luddy after the Vacation Matrix was used, though, so Gladiators are going to be able to push in a little bit of extra damage, but Water is not going to need to use the window. He's just going to use his fist instead, as Third Impact losing a couple players, but maybe Gladiators Legion have lost too much. That's at least 2 ticks for Third Impact.
It is going to be 2 ticks, but how bouncy
Nice
can Lude be? Nice sleep from Rolf. They're keeping Gladiators Legion's defense alive for now. Water has really come alive on this Doomfist. He's really impressed on the Junkrat earlier, and when his team needs the kills, he's the man to count on. I really like this because we mentioned Water very often. He's one of those DPS players that suffered the most staying in Brigida jail. We rarely saw him on some of his preferred heroes like the Genji, and now this Doomfist might well be the end of Third Impact's go here. 8 seconds left.
They did get 75.5%, so there's only 1 tick remaining for Third Impact. One fight as the Nano comes through immediately, and Water is going to crush Onigod against the pillar. Ooh, that, you felt that go. As Water gets another meteor strike kill, it's going to be it for Third Impact. There's no way they're going to come back in time. As Gladiators Legion are able to hold them from getting 2 points. That's the second time today on Assault that a team has not finished the map. And now it's going to be up to Gladiators Legion to finish it themselves on their attack. Water on the Genji, Water on the Junkrat, man. That is, it used to be bridge over troubled Water throughout the regular season. This time around, though, he's the one that is being the most impactful on his team, especially here on Assault. I'm still replaying that tire in my head.
It's just so, you could feel Third Impact, they felt so safe. They felt so nice and warm and comfortable, bunkered up in that.
This is a safe space.
Exactly. Nothing can touch us here. Surprise! Gladiators Legion, off the backs of some antics from Water, able to bring life and hydrate this desert oasis map. Third Impact now got to dig deep into their own defense, and Legion, I think they've kind of hit upon something here. Third Impact invested really heavily on destroying the tanks. Obviously, you know, you got a Genji, sure, but that was only for a little bit. They pulled out the Reaper shortly thereafter and obviously tried to go in for that sustained, long fight, shred the shields, burn the tanks. But while Legion did invest in some of the same heroes, they did have a Mei. Water feeling very prideful right now. They just decided to let this Doomfist free range, turn him out on the pasture, and will provide kind of a home base for him to come back to when he needs that healing. Lude really good with the immortality field, saving the Doomfist life several times, and will, you know, top him off, but largely Water's just kind of on his own, and it's a strategy that doesn't work for a lot of teams because it's so much pressure on the shoulders of your DPS to perform. If he's not landing those combos, he is a sitting duck and isn't a resource anymore. He becomes a liability.
Becomes a 7v5 at that point, right?
Exactly, but Legion able to make that work, and now they're going to throw Water on the Mei this time around, as Third Impact going to be looking to their own Hanzo and Widow. Double sniper defense to land the shots.
It's always really funny. There's so much movement in Overwatch that when a character stands still, it's just so jarring, right? It's, oh, something wrong. Oh, you're just flexing on some kids. So Gladiators Legion now are going to switch Water back onto the Genji. They're going to go for a very divey type of composition. Dalton, though, on the Sombra. We haven't seen like any Sombra so far here in Contenders. We did see A10 play it yesterday. We will stop talking about that because that's about it. Third Impact now is going to be on the defensive side. Robdap already at 40%. He's able to get early nanos. Should creep up Gladiators Legion for the time being. Dalton is going to be the one that's got to keep an eye out for because we have seen the Blade as a combo that has destroyed many a team in the past.
It's essentially a win. It is going to be a win, bar some kind of transcendence or miracle from Third Impact, and they're not running a Lucio or a Zed. There's a couple ways to deal with snipers. One is to run your own sniper. The other way is to close the distance, and that's what Legion are going for here. Ooh, Stand One does get found out, though. And I like the way that Third Impact are taking this, right? There's so many squirrely members of the Legion offense that it can feel like you have decision paralysis. Who exactly are we going to kill? But you see an easy Hammond standing there just hoping that people are going to ignore him, which is something that teams will do.
He got slept.
Right? Oh, and he also got slept. But Third Impact are just like, okay, well, we can't kill them all. We're going to just kill one.
The hack goes through onto the main tank, Amate, but no follow-up damage. Every hack, you want to see that EMP charge come up about 10 to 15%. You can get 20%. I think a one clip is very close to 20% on that ult charge. Dalton, though, only getting close to 50% total so far. This Sombra hasn't really been doing anything. Has only got to also use those infrared sights. Water has the Dragon Blade. He's going to die very shortly here. Actually, no, he's going to get the heals, and the Dragon Strike is going to push Gladiators Legion back just a little while longer, as Rolf and Water were unable to get the combo going. So the question is, will Water use the Dragon Blade naked, or wait a little while for Rolf to get that nano out?
Could just also wait for the EMP. It's going to come sooner, but no, he sees an opportunity. Goes straight for the Mercy.
He's trying to make some plays. You can do that in 2-2-2 roll lock, but Rob Deb is going to punch him in the face. A lot of fisticuffs get thrown by both these teams as the res comes through as well onto Apply. Gladiators really struggling to make anything happen in this first point so far. It might be time for a change, as Dalton has not gotten his just now getting that ultimate with 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining.
I can see why it's been difficult for Dalton to
Water
get
should not have
ultimate
used
charge.
that blade.
Yeah, he thought he saw an opportunity, but it's the flip side. Sometimes you're a hero, sometimes you're a zero, and now Legion don't really have anything to combo, but they do have the opportunity to sustain the fight with the sound barrier. But one of the reasons why Dalton's been struggling is he can't really pump in a ton of damage and reveal himself, because he can be one-shot killed by either Apply or Onika.
Oh, Dalton gets to kill the old-fashioned on the Zolik. This is a big opening for Gladiators Legion. Even though Water falls, there's still a good fight for Gladiators Legion to take, especially since Callius has slept and Apply is packed. They're finding the kills, but the supports now for Gladiators Legion are back in spawn. Will the 3 remaining members of the Legion be able to survive? Stand 1 takes down Callius before he's able to get any of that ultimate off. The Dragon Strike, though, should be able to push them away for the time being. The Gladiators Legion should be back here very shortly. Water is back. Self-destruct is there. Callius is going to have to self-destruct when he comes back as well. The Dragon Strike is going to rip through the objective and nothing else. Stand 1 finds another kill onto Onikon this time around, as Gladiators Legion having a hard time staying on this objective. They're down to 15 seconds, so if anyone else dies, that's going to be the end of Gladiators Legion's point A push. They might get held here by Third Impact, but no, that's not going to be the case. The field finds 2. Third Impact will fall in the lead.
It was not an easy fight, though. It was not easy for Legion. Third Impact made them fight for every single tick, and they still don't have one. All right, there we go. 33%, and it's probably likely that Third Impact are just going to hold on to their ultimates for the point B fight. But it was a very, very close thing. That's one of the downsides of running very squishy DPS. One, Dalton, you could argue that Sombra is not a true DPS, but more of a utility DPS, so you can't expect her to just be pumping out damage. The other thing with Genji and Sombra is that they're pretty squishy. Gladiators Legion can't last long in the sustained fight. They don't have a ton of tanking ability, so they gotta move quickly, in and out fast. You live, you die, gotta be quick.
Well, that's why they're running this Nano Blade, right? They gotta get the kills quickly, and here it is. Here's that blade unsheathed. He's going to take down the Orisa. He's going to be able to find another kill as well. Dalton, in the meantime, gets the D-Mech. This is a good snowball for Gladiators Legion, as a melee kill is going to finish off that baby Diva. May's not going to last very long either, as Gladiators Legion are going to be able to make up a ton of time walking into point B, potentially. But there are 2 kills now coming in from Third Impact. Even if the self-destruct goes to go through, the Blizzard should stop Gladiators Legion in the attack for the time being. And I can't believe this, but not even a tick for the Legion here, even after getting 3 picks early on.
It is very surprising. Boop Applies may a big part of that reason that they couldn't get a little bit more. They also don't need to finish the entire point. 76% is going to be the win condition for Gladiators Legion. As quickly as they killed, it just wasn't fast enough. Did not set a speed run record this time around, so we are going to see them swap onto their own Reaper May Orisa composition, but they are very far behind Third Impact. Not only in terms of ultimate, but also that momentum. They only have 1 minute and 30 left. That means 2 good pushes. Whoever gets an ultimate first here, don't be a hero. Bank him up for the later game, because you're going to need every tool you got with so little time.
Rolf will be the one that finds that ultimate, and I'm very intrigued by how he's going to use the coalescence when it comes through. There is still 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Self-destruct goes into the back line, finds Rolf in at the end. That's a 65 now for Third Impact. They've got to see, Legion has got to see this offensive push. Now they're down to 1 minute.
Rob Dab actually pops the coalescence. May not have been wholly necessary here, but as it stands, they might as well push forward and take this space, because Onigod is in a great position to Death Blossom Gladiators Legion on route to the point. Legion need all the time that they can get, and if Third Impact want to be cheeky, it doesn't look like it. They know how quickly these points can flip, so they're going to take the safer bet and head back to the objective. Legion going to pop Rolf's coalescence soon, try and find a bit of time to get either Dalton or Water up to their ultimate. Water's ultimate is a little bit more of the safer bet, but Ideally, they would like to draw that sound barrier out from Zolik for third impact are very, very comfortable right now in this defense.
They should feel comfortable because they have a huge ultimate advantage. They're actually going to be aggressing into Gladiators Legion, and this is going to potentially be a map-winning idea. As Onigod going to take down the Maze. Sound barrier to keep everyone else from third impact alive, and third impact does not need to capture all of Anubis, as 75% will be enough to take the map win. If Gladiators Legion and third impact most likely be tied here 1-1.
Looking very likely as the overtime wick burns down, and that will be it. Third impact coming alive on the defense, something that we haven't seen a ton from the Contenders team so far.
But we have seen a lot today.
Today specifically, yeah. So not bad at all. Gladiators Legion trying to just play their own game, but sometimes at some point you got to be like, hey, this didn't quite work out. Maybe it was even worth it to kind of change things up after point A when you struggled so mightily. You had 3 tools that all work in concert so well. EMP, then you nano the Genji, then you blade the crap out of your opponents, and none of those things really happened.
In my opinion, if Water holds on to that Dragon Blade earlier on, right, waits for Dalton's EMP, they might have a little bit of extra time to work with going into the second point. They then change characters. They might have 30 extra seconds to get to those ultimates. Yeah. And those single decisions could affect your map so much. You don't know until the end, really, how those decisions from earlier on in point A could affect potentially not completing point B. But both of these two teams are purple, and they're tied 1-1 here. We're going to take 6 minutes off for halftime, and when we come back, we'll see who will lock their spot up in the gauntlet.